Hey everybody, welcome back Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Monday. Jim Reamer popping in now from Courtside, Indiana. How's it going, Jimbo?
Doing well, man. How are you?
Cannot complain. Wouldn't do me any good. Nobody wants to listen to it.
Be good
Uh,
if you did, huh? There's
yes,
always room to
darn
complain.
right. Yep. It's lots going on this weekend, basketball wise. Even though it seems
Yeah,
like not a lot. The
back
team
in it.
camps at
Yep.
IU over the weekend.
Yes.
Also, the Junior All Star game down at Bedford. But you were down at IU in Bloomington for the team camps that
Went to team camp. Yeah,
Mike Woodson and was the entire staff out there?
I think so. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. I saw them all. I saw other people I didn't know, and then had to figure out who was whom. So, um, players were on hand. Of course, some of them were keeping score. Others were just going back and forth. I don't know that I saw all the players. I didn't see Race Thompson, for example. Trace was around. But yeah, I saw a lot of the guys, at least the ones that I know visually. Renault, I think Renault was there. Of course, the freshmen are going to be there. They're doing a lot of the grunt work. So, but it was good. It was good teams. Centerville was there from Ohio, so the Gabe Cupps was there. Some of the guys there IU's looking at as well were there, and it was a couple teams that probably wondered why they were there, but all in all, I thought the competition was good. Jalen Harrelson was there. Trent Sisley was there. Those were
Joey
those.
Brown from North Central, J.Q. Roberts from Bloomington
Yep.
North, Jonathan
Yep.
Powell, that you talked about, who is offered, Kanan Catchings, Brownsburg, Travis Perry, Linden
Mm-hmm.
County, Lyon County, Kentucky. Now that's going to, and that cracks me up. Trent Sisley, like you said, Jalen Harrelson. If and when they offer Travis Perry, do you think that after that an IU offer could be coming?
Well, they Cups and Perry played against each other, and Perry was that game. I realize it's just one game. Was the better player, and he was. Both their teams aren't great outside of them. Someone said Centerville had another kid that's supposed to be really good. If it was, he didn't stand out in the 1.5 games that I got a chance to see. And it was the difference was Perry was a better shooter. Perry is an outstanding shooter. He was a kid that as a freshman I wasn't in love with. I just thought he was definitely an early maturing kid, so I think that's where a lot of his name recognition came in from. He certainly was. He'd been playing varsity in Kentucky since his 8th grade year, which is allowed in Kentucky. He will probably graduate being the all-time leading scorer in Kentucky high school basketball history, and it will be very difficult for anybody to eclipse that. I think for a while because the numbers that he put up as an 8th and 9th grader, I think are going to be hard to top. Um, he has changed his body. He's gotten quicker. I like his length. He's shorter. Verbal commits has him at 6'3". He's not 6'3". He's maybe 6 feet, maybe a little bit taller than that. He's definitely shorter than Cups. And as much as you can like a kid like Cups, how hard he plays and what his motor is, and how communicative he is on the floor, how much of a good defender he can be and should be. Um, he's still. I wonder what he's going to do if he's not a natural shooter. Um, Although I think he does shoot the ball pretty well, but if he needs room to get it off, and he's not able to get downhill and get separation without the use of a ball screen or without use of some sort of I don't think Cups at the high major level is just going to beat his man. And maybe I could be wrong on that. I wonder at that point how much of a shot creator he's going to be. I think he'll always be a glue guy and a good leader, and just see how that develops. But then he struggled shooting the ball all weekend, or all weekend, all day. At least again, everybody played 3 games. I got a chance to watch 1.5 games, um, and even against Lyon County, against Travis Perry's team, it was a 1-possession game with 15 seconds to go, and Cupps missed 5 free throws in a row. So he and 2 of them, excuse me, weren't even close. So not an outstanding performance. And then the flip side of that is Perry was really impressive. Playmaking, his ability to hit a shot. I mean, Cupps guarded him, and Perry was able to get into the teeth of their defense and make plays. He is a much better shot creator for others than he was when he was younger, which that's natural. But all in all, I just loved how automatic of a shot he has. He's a tremendous shooter, and I think the concern with him, I mean, he would be his size. He's got offers from Western Kentucky, Mississippi.
How tall do you say he is?
I think he's a shade over 6 feet, maybe. I could be wrong on that. He could be shorter than that.
See, the thing, everybody gets, and I understand, that sounds to be the exact size of a guy named Jordan Hulls. Is he probably about that height?
No, Hulls is bigger.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would think Jordan's taller than I am. I've not been around Jordan since sophomore year of college. Like
maybe he's 6'1" then.
Yeah, I mean he's a legitimate 6'1", probably a shade. What was he listed at when he played at Indiana? Let's check that real quick.
I guess my point being is, I know you'd love to have every guard be 6'5".
Oh, I agree.
Get up but you know what? When a guy just has it, a guy has it, and
Hulls was listed 6 feet, by the way.
There you go.
At least according to Basketball Reference.
So what does that tell you?
Well, but let's pull back. Yeah, but let's pull back on Hulls too, because I'm not going to say the kid's name in my case because it's a player I coached, and I don't have enough time to defend a position. But Hulls was really good when he was basically the fifth option. When he was the guy, he was forced to being the guy. It was the early years of Crean. There was just a lot of losing, and there was a lot of losing when he was getting a majority, a lot of minutes. As they got more and more pieces in, he became a reliable niche shooter. I think the question there is would Perry at that size, Braden Smith, who's going to Purdue, would have been the same discussion at some point. How much of his issue was size? Now, in Braden Smith's case, it's incredible length. Incredibly long arms, and Perry's kind of right there too. I would say pretty close. It's definitely long for a kid. He's definitely got a plus wingspan. And Hulls settled in nicely to being that gravity changing shooter that you had to always guard. And whether he was hitting 3 or 4 threes in a game or hitting 0 threes in a game, you always had to guard Hulls. So that's where someone like Perry would, somebody who shoots that well would be an advantage. But the question is he is much more effective. He would maximize his ability at a level where he could play the point. And I think that's where you start to question, can he do that in the Big Ten? And importantly, could IU win or compete for a Big Ten title with him at the point? I think yes. I think he could. I think they could. You'd have to have you'd have to be big on the wing, or you definitely couldn't be small on the wing. But I think a kid like that could come in and he's good enough. Now I believe so now. And it's it's a lot like Bohannon at Iowa, but at the same time you've got to be big at the wing. You can't constantly be trying to play catch up at every position if you're down 2 or 3 inches at each spot.
I'm trying to look, but I know that, let's say Travis Perry gets an IU offer. He would be like the 4th or 5th guy to get from Kentucky to get an offer under Mike Woodson's staff. Yeah. That's already more than any staff in the history of IU basketball. And that's in the first 2 years. Yeah. And that's in a state that doesn't produce a ton of talent, but that just shows you how they were scouring for every little bit in every little place. And I think you have to take your hat off to this staff for not being afraid to go after the right guys, not just the big name guys.
Right. Well, Yeah, recruiting wise, I haven't seen a list of 2024 nationally. I don't put a lot of stock in those lists beyond the top 20 or so, top 20 or 30. Um, he's, I mean, he's going to be a big name. They win a lot of games. Indiana Elite, that team wins a lot of games. He's a big reason why they win a lot of games. And again, his playmaking has really improved since last year, and that's add that to his shooting, and that's I was impressed. I liked him all spring, but I was really impressed with his play this past Saturday.
Plenty of stuff. We got to take a break, but plenty of stuff to talk about. Here's a good one. Kenneth says he has a hard time seeing Galloway having as big a role as he did last year. Personally, he thinks Gunn is underrated. If he earns playing time, he thinks it will be at the expense of Galloway, and I think that's could be true. We'll talk about that. Plenty more as well. Jordan Hulls. Speaking of Jordan, how will he impact the shooting on this team? We talked about that being a serious issue. So we'll talk about that as well when we come back. Hey, you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar, where they have one of the best, if not the best, selection of wines around, gourmet cheeses, sandwiches. It's nothing but the best. All part of the WOW Club. Make sure you sign up for that WOW Club. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.